Welcome to STEM NOLA. My name is Dr. Kelvin Mackey, and I'm happy to have you all tuning in. As a little background, we founded STEM NOLA 7 years ago to expose and inspire and engage communities in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In the last 7 years, we've engaged over 50,000 K-12 students, over 12,000 families, and over 1,500 college students and STEM professionals. One thing that I'm proud to say is that we've put over $1 million in the hands of college students over the last 7 years serving as college interns with STEM NOLA, going out and engaging the community. So thank you for tuning in. Parents, thank you for believing in STEM NOLA and trusting us with your most prized possession, your child, your scholar. STEM NOLA believe that either we're training ourselves from the neck up or the neck down. In the 21st century, our children will only have one or three options. Either they're gonna take something, break something, and/or make something. And if we don't give them the skills and education to make something, like make a living, make a life, make a difference, it only leaves them with the two options that we see on the news every night, and that's to take and break. I don't want that for my two children, and I know you don't want that for yours, and that's why we're here today to expose our children to the possibilities of the 21st century. This is my friend. This is Alpha. Alpha is a humanoid. A humanoid is a robot that tries to act like a human. This humanoid has 9 servos and can do pretty much anything physically that a human can do. This is our competitor in the 21st century. Alpha can actually do push-ups. Alpha can even show off. And Alpha can even dance. And like any superhero, Alpha has her own music. This is the machine. And the automatic machine in the 21st century will displace many workers. In the aftermath of COVID, you have to believe that there are many companies out there saying never again will we allow a pandemic or something that happened in nature shut us down. So COVID has exacerbated the possibilities of machines displacing people. If you're competing against Alpha, you will not win. The only way we defeat Alpha is by developing our heart and developing our head, training ourselves from the neck up such that we can control the robots so that the robots will not control us. That's why we're here. That's why STEM NOLA exists. That's why your parents want to make sure that you all participate in events like this so you can know the possibilities of the 21st century. Again, I'm Dr. Kelvin Mackey, and I want to say thank you for tuning in. Now let's get busy innovating, creating, and making with STEM NOLA. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Keivindra Collins. I work here at STEM NOLA as K2 Operations Coordinator. And now I'm going to take it away with our LSU professional to talk about friction. Okay, guys, on our agenda for today, we're going to be going over first our vocabulary terms. Then we're going to go ahead and introduce our objectives and our activity questions. And then we're going to go ahead and move on into our activity for today, which is called our rainbow friction spinner. And then lastly, we're going to go back over those activity questions, and I will also answer any questions and answers that you guys have for me. Okay, so on our vocabulary list, our first term is called friction. And friction is a force that resists the sliding or rolling of solids on another. Next, we have force. Force is the push or pull upon an object resulting from the object's interaction with another object. Then we have drag. Drag is the aerodynamic force that opposes the aircraft's motion through the air. Drag is generated by every part of an airplane. And lastly, we have kinetic friction. Kinetic friction is defined as a force that acts between moving surfaces, and it's the resistance of motion caused by the contact of a surface and a moving object. So for our objectives of today, you guys are going to understand how friction works. And we're gonna go over using those terms that we just went over: force, friction, drag, and kinetic friction. Those all will be covered. Also, guys, you will also learn how to make a cool rainbow friction spinner today. All right, so for our questions of the day, guys, our first question is, does an airplane engine have drag force? All right. Next, we have, when you roller skate, do you produce friction? And next, we have, what causes a hockey puck to slow down when it's sliding on ice? So guys, I want you to think about those questions because we're going to answer those at the end of this activity. All right, so for our activity today, we're going to be covering our friction spinner. All right, so first I'm going to go ahead and go over our materials list. On our materials, we have our template. We have our paper circles, and you should have 4 of those. Then we have paper strips. You should have 8 paper strips. Then you should have 1 skewer and also 1 roll of tape. So while you guys are gonna go ahead and grab your materials, I'm gonna quickly go over the science behind what we're gonna be doing for today. All right, so the rubbing of our hands exert a force on the object opposite to the direction of motion, which is called friction drag. Drag is the opposite force, which causes the colorful ripple effect that you see when you're spinning in your hands with the friction spinner. Therefore, the friction from our hands, it causes the spinner to move in a circular path, and it creates a centripetal force. All right. So guys, we can go ahead and get started on our activity. So right now I have all of my materials laid out in front of me. I'm going to first start by grabbing my colorful strips, okay? So grab your colorful strips. You can go ahead and pick whatever range of colors you want, but you want to cut them about maybe 3/4 of an inch. And all I did was draw out my lines evenly across on a sheet of paper and cut out the strips. All right. So once you have all of your strips cut out, you want to go ahead and take each one and also take a hole puncher and go ahead and hole punch each end of your paper strip like so. And I'm going to go ahead and repeat that on the opposite end of the same strip. Do this same step to all 8 of your colorful strips. All right, so guys, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up hole punching each one of my strips. As you know, we're gonna be learning all about friction, specifically drag friction. So with this activity, guys, you will see how friction can actually create a certain motion when you are sliding your hands up against the wooden skewer. All right, so I'm almost done with these strips. I have about 1 more to go, and then we're going to get started into assembling our friction spinner. All right, so once you have all of your strips all hole punched and ready to go, we're going to go ahead and grab one of our circle cutouts. When you do your circle cutouts, be sure to go ahead and hole punch a hole right in the center of them. I have mine already pre-punched, but all you're going to do is cut out a hole, a circle, and then you're going to go ahead and grab your hole puncher and press a hole right in the center like so. So grab 4 of those. Then we're going to go ahead and take our strips one by one. We're going to take one of our circles here. Starting with one of your strips, you want to go ahead and line up your strip with the circle cutout, making sure that the holes are both lined up together, like so. So to keep it in place, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a glue stick. So go ahead and get glue or tape, whichever works best for you. I'm gonna use a glue stick for this one, but you also have the option to use clear tape. All right, so with this glue stick, I'm gonna just go ahead and rub the glue stick right on the end of my strip and press it right on top of the circle cutout. Now I'm gonna repeat that again with the rest of my colorful strips. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my next color strip, add glue on the end, and I'll press it right on top, aligning the holes evenly, like so. And as you can see, I ended up putting the strip right across from the first strip that I laid down. Now I'm going to take my second or third strip. This time I'm going to lay it right across, like so. And I'm going to glue that down as well. Yes. Also, guys, I'll go ahead and repeat what I just did. What I did here was I took one of my strips, I applied a little bit of glue. You have the option to use both glue and tape. And then I laid my strip down on top of my circle cutout, making sure that the holes are aligned, and I pressed it down. Then I did the same step with my second strip, going right at the top, and I applied glue and laid it down right on top of that first strip, making sure that the hole is still visible so that I don't cover the hole. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the rest of our strips, and we're gonna repeat what I'm doing here to all 8 of your strips, okay? So now I'm forming the shape of a T, if you can see what I'm doing here. So next, I'm gonna go ahead and apply my next strip going across on this side. And it looks like a cross. And that's the shape we wanna kind of achieve with this. I'm applying glue down onto my strip, pressing it into the center, making sure not to cover the hole. And there you go. And now we should have 4 more strips left. With the next 4 strips, we're gonna go ahead and lay them in between the gaps where we don't have any strips at all. So this one is gonna go diagonal into here. All right. And I'll apply the glue here. Press down. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and grab another strip. I'm gonna apply glue right at the end. And this time I'm gonna have it going diagonal from the left. And there you have it. And then for the last 2 strips, I'm gonna repeat the same thing. This time they will be going diagonal coming from the top portions. All right. So what we're forming here looks similar to like a star. That's the shape we want to achieve. All right. All right, so once you have that glue on, go ahead and press it right in the center and align it with the rest of the holes. And that part, once this part is done, guys, and you have all of your strips glued down to the center, you're gonna take one more of your circle cutouts with the hole punch, and we're gonna add glue right on that hole or right on the circle, and we're gonna press it on top of our strips, like so. All right. So now that we have that first part done, what we want to do is we want to flip it over and repeat the exact same thing that we did with our circle cutout. So I'm going to take another circle cutout. This time I'm going to glue it on the opposite end of our strips. And we're going to repeat what we did all over again. All right. So this time I'm going to go ahead and apply my glue onto the underside or the top portion of our strip. And you see how I'm flipping it over like so. And I'm aligning my holes up to where the strips is in the center, like so. All right, I'm gonna repeat that again for the rest of our strips. And I'm just gonna quickly show you guys exactly the pattern that we want to create before I glue everything down. All right. So once you're all done, this is the pattern that you guys should form. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and start gluing all of my strips down into the center of my circle cutout. All right. I'm going to move to this strip here. All right. Now that I have these 4 strips pressed down, I'm going to move on to my diagonal strips. All right, and making sure that I don't block the center hole, I'm going to go ahead and align each strip right in the center. All right, and be sure to press that right on top. All right, so now we're down to 1 more strip, guys, and we're almost done. All right, so last but not least, we're going to go ahead and take our last and final circle cutout, and we're going to glue that right on top the center of our rainbow spinner. So go ahead and apply that glue. And press it down right on top. All right. So now that we have this complete, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to our skewer. So you can grab your wooden skewer and also grab your tape, your clear tape. All right, so what we want to do is we want to take our clear tape and we're going to go ahead and start wrapping that around the end of our skewer. All right. So I'm going to take that and start wrapping and wrapping around the end of my skewer. We want to make it to where there's a thick layer of tape right on the tip of your skewer. This is so that our friction spinner can fit snug once we adhere to the skewer. All right. So I think that should be enough. You could go ahead and rip your tape off and fold that over. So once you have your tape wrapped around the end of your skewer, you can go ahead. Okay, and I'm going to start from the bottom of my skewer, actually. The bottom end that does not have the tape, we're going to go ahead and insert that into the middle hole of our rainbow strips. Make sure that it comes out all the way at the end, like so. We're going to push it down. And once it reaches the tape, I'm gonna go ahead and push it through, and it should stop right in the middle, like so. And that holds this in place for us. All right, guys, so now we're all done with our friction spinner. Let's see it go. What you want to do is you want to take your hands together and twist. Ooh. Isn't that cool, guys? So what you see here, as we're sliding our hands back and forth, you can see that our rainbow friction spinner slides up and down, and you can see the rainbow effect with the colors creating like a centrifugal force. Really cool, isn't it? All right, guys, so that concludes our activity for today. All right, so we're gonna go right back into those questions that I mentioned earlier, and we're gonna answer those. So does an airplane engine have drag force? Yes, all parts of the plane do. So if you answered that correctly, give yourself a pat on the back. All right. Now, when you roller skate, do you produce friction? Anyone? Anyone knows that? The answer to this one is no. The wheels allow you to glide on any surface without stopping. Next, what causes a hockey puck to slow down when sliding on ice? Friction. All right. So if you got all of those answers correctly, give yourself a round of applause. You did great. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat below. Until then, guys, join us again for our next STEM at Home live session. It will be Thursday, March 17th at 4 p.m. And it will be covering the topic of chemical mixtures.